Hi friends, welcome to the Scapegoat Club. My name's Jess, and this video is about the betrayal that I think is at the heart of family estrangement. Hi friends, thank you so much for being here. As always, I really appreciate your time. And this video is going to be touching on some difficult emotions, and so I hope that as you're watching, you are able to give some space for those, to give yourself some grace, and also to give some grace to something that if it sounds uncomfortable or difficult for you. Because betrayal is a huge thing. Family estrangement is a really, really difficult subject. We are talking the hardest things, some of the hardest things we might, or maybe the hardest thing we ever have to go through. So please be kind to yourself and to me in the comments. So for me, the hardest thing about family estrangement is really that it is at the center of it all, I think, is betrayal. And I think that happens regardless of the side you're on, whether you are the person that has been cut off by somebody else, or you are the person that decides you have no choice and you need to cut off. I think there are really deep feelings of betrayal on both sides. And I'm just going to take a little pause and a little aside here and say what I'm talking about here is estrangement and not alienation. I've talked about what that difference is in another video, and I'll put the link below. But for me, if there isn't betrayal in this estrangement process, then that means that it's more likely to be alienation. And alienation is where we distance or we cut someone off to punish them. It's done to hurt somebody else or to try and push them into getting something that we want. And that is alienation, which is a very, very different thing. And so for me, that's one of the big distinguishing features, that there isn't this betrayal on both sides. There is definitely potential for betrayal on if someone has been alienated unfairly, but I think that in estrangement we actually get this two-sided betrayal. So just thinking about that for the second, and if we are on the side of someone who's been cut off, there is a huge amount of hurt there. We might feel that it happened without reason. We might feel that it happened or without good reason, without notice. Or we might feel that that notice or that reason wasn't good enough and it doesn't justify the hurt, the really deep pain that we feel from being cut off by that family member. There's a huge amount of grief, and there's anger in there as well. There can be a rage that someone would really do that, really deliberately hurt you that way. And it's because these family relationships, if we're talking parents to children or we're talking siblings, these are biologically, traditionally, and like in our social structures, these are the most primal bonds that we have. Humans are social beings, and we need social groups, and we need our family group, primarily from when we were born, to survive. And so to have those bonds broken prematurely, or as I said, in ways that don't seem necessary, it feels unnatural. It feels very destabilizing, and the depth of the hurt it's incredibly, incredibly wounding. I'm also going to speak to people who do the cutting off and who also feel this deep betrayal. And this is where some of the controversy comes in, is that people who are cut off don't understand that the person who is cutting off can also be feeling that much hurt. That is where a lot of our difficulty comes in, but just because we don't see it doesn't mean that the person cutting off doesn't hurt very, very deeply too. For the same reasons, that we have these primal bonds and we have these incredibly deep human needs to be close to our families. And so when we have difficulties in the relationship, get to the point that we feel that we have no choice, and we feel that it is almost like a last resort that we have to detach ourselves from our families, it is because we feel betrayed. We feel this sense of loss and this sense of anger because we don't have the relationships that we want, that we need. And potentially we have relationships that are hurting us within our family units. So again, a huge amount of betrayal and confusion. I should also say confusion on both sides. And so, okay, Jess, great. This is a really happy video. Why are you talking about this? Well, not to have a misery fest, not to start slinging stones at each other, not to make us feel any worse than we do. The reason I'm talking about it is because if we don't understand and we don't recognize the hurt, then I don't think that we're able to move on. I think unless we take some time when it's safe and when we're able to do so, I think unless we take time when it's safe and when it's available for us to do so, unless we take that time to really attend to the fact that we do have this hurt and that we are grieving and maybe we're really, really, really freaking angry at someone, unless we take note and we give space to those emotions, how are we going to move on? How are we even going to think about the potential of reconciliation if we've got all these feelings festering? And I can hear people saying, yeah, I want to get really angry towards that person that cut me off or that person that I had to cut off. I'm feeling that anger. Time out. Time out, folks, because we want to feel that anger, but I'm also going to say that it's not something that we want to throw and spread and push onto that other person. We need to take time and take stock of those emotions in our own space when we're able to do so, so that we can take some of the momentum and some of the fire and some of the force out of them. And then at some point we can then think about what that reconciliation process might look like. If it's appropriate, if we want to take a look at what that reconciliation process might look like, we can do so in a place that comes from a less kind of explosive and destabilizing emotional space, because we're talking rage, grief, anger, huge loss. They can be pretty chaotic emotions. But also we're not going to forget that they're there. We're not going to pretend that they didn't happen, but we attend to them. And then if we get to the stage where we decide that reconciliation is something that we want to do, we can then talk to the other person and say, look, I was incredibly hurt. I was very, very distressed by what you did. But we can have a bit more of a less emotionally charged conversation. We can also, if we attend to those emotions, then maybe be in a clearer space to decide, actually, you know what, this distancing makes a lot of sense. It's sad, it's not what I would have hoped for, but I can see now that it is for the best. I am also going to say, if people are looking for that hope and really wanting to reconcile, that I do think that if we can attend to this grief process, this betrayal, this hurt, and all of the horrible things, the messy side of it, I actually think that we are, by doing that work, we're opening ourselves up to a deeper and a more fulfilling and potentially a long-lasting relationship, because we can work through the hard stuff and then get to the honest piece with the other person and hopefully move forwards. Friends, I'd love to hear what you think. I realize that, as I said, this is a very, very hard topic, and if you are going through this, then it can be really difficult to even see and think straight, and that rage and anger and hurt can be so overpowering. But I do think that if we can move forwards and we can make it more bearable. And I also understand that sometimes it can be so hard, that we've been so hurt and we always want to lash out and we want to keep hold of that hurt, and we want to let the other person know how much they've hurt us, because it is so painful. And I get that too. And I think that that's a part of the process, but I also think if we want to move on and we want to have a bit more of a healthy, positive, balanced life, then at some point it's really beneficial to work through this and to say, you know what, I don't agree with this, but at some level I need to accept it for my own well-being. And so working to accept that can sometimes help release a little bit of that pain as well. Friends, please let me know what you think. Please be kind. Please be kind. Some of these videos, I wonder, what am I doing? But I do think that estrangement is an important thing to talk about, and so hopefully that these videos help. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can give me a thumbs up, like the video. You can subscribe to see more. You can leave a donation below. You can support the channel through Patreon. And I will write this in a little blog post, I think. And I will put that up on my website too. Thank you so much, friends. Please take care. And I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.